Good morning, San Diego. Welcome to Operation American Dream. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and you are in for a treat today. After 50 years, the NSA has declassified an event that you guys are going to hear about firsthand for the man who we're now looking at to get the Congressional Medal of Honor. We also have 2-on-1 San Diego coming up and another special guest you're not going to want to miss. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and in studio today with me is one of my best friends on the whole world, Andrea Kaye.
Yay!
Welcome to the show.
I am so excited and thrilled to be here.
And
Eve.
you are
Thank
no
you so
stranger to the studio at all, or
No.
to TV, or to radio. So tell us a little bit about the Andrea Kaye Show.
Well, the Andrea Kaye Show is on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on AIM 1170, The Answer, and podcasts are on my website at AndreaKayeShow.com. And I had actually done a few radio shows for different people in town as co-host producer, and they were primarily business shows and pop culture and even entertainment lifestyle stuff, which I love because I love San Diego and I have a heart for business. I actually studied business in school. But I really wasn't doing some of the content that I really loved, which was politics and, you know, community and civics and all those things. And so a friend of mine said to me, you know what, I think you should do your own show. And I was scared to death to do my own thing, as you might attest to. It can be really scary, right? But I just decided to jump in and launch the Andrea Kaye Show. And it's really about my passions, which first and foremost are love of country and this great nation that we have. We were blessed. We became the greatest nation, one providing the greatest force for good in the world for a reason.
That's right.
And we owe so much of that to our military heroes that fought and died to protect our freedoms. And as the daughter of two Marines, I just am passionate about fighting for this country, fighting for its founding principles, and for the military heroes who make it possible for us to have those freedoms every day.
And what was it like for you growing up with not one, but two parents who were in the military?
Well, sometimes I think it was a little bit like boot camp and basic training every day. I mean, literally,
Make your bed and drop and give me 20.
Oh, right, right. We actually had to fold clothes according to, like, regulation. Oh yeah.
I mean, to bounce a quarter on your bed sheets?
Pretty much. I mean, seriously, so I think that our closets were, you know, just like according to regulations, like lockers.
Right.
But really, they really instilled in me, both my parents did. I think that's where I got my love of country and politics and belief in the American system that we have, the free market capitalist system that we have. It was my parents who instilled in me the idea that our rights come from God and not from man. And we needed to fight for that every day. And so, you know, I bless them for their service to this country and for them instilling in me the love that I have for America.
And we are, this San Diego is full of military families, right? And so hopefully they're instilling that sense of love for country, love for God, and doing your best every single day, you know? So how do you think as a community we can come together and rally around the military families here in San Diego?
Well, I think it starts by re-embracing what this country was about. I think there's been a lot of forces to divide us. And I think there's a lot of talk right now, particularly after the recent election, a need for unity. And I think while there still may be different things that divide us in terms of opinions, and I think everybody has the right to their opinion, I think everybody has the right to free expression. I think that the one thing that we can rally around and unify around is our military. And, you know, because that really is, they're like the underpinning. They're like the foundation for us. So if we can come together, particularly in this military town that we're in, and remind ourselves what this great nation is about and unify around our military, and there's much that we can do for them because we owe that to them, Eve. We owe them everything that we can do for them. We know that the VA has suffered under lack of leadership. One of the things that we can do is we can get involved in all the different organizations that are here in San Diego to support our military, and we can continue to be a voice and push back to our government to do what's right for our military in terms of health care and housing and support services for them when they come back from war.
That's right. And you know, in a few weeks, we're going to have the San Diego Food Bank on. And to your point, Andrea, one of the tragic statistics is that food bank serves 28,000 military people a week. in San Diego. It's ridiculous.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
It is ridiculous. And so I absolutely agree with you. We can all, as a community, come around our veterans, come around the spouses, come around the families, volunteer, help. There's always something that we can do to help support them.
Yeah, and beyond Veterans Day and Memorial Day, you know, I mean, and 4th of July, it's wonderful when we have the big days throughout the year in which we have the parties and the barbecues and all that. You know, and we have even the air shows here in San Diego. We just have so many great opportunities here in San Diego to pay tribute to them. But I would encourage everybody watching to actually take a step beyond that. Find, you know, we have many organizations here in San Diego that they can personally get involved in and donate their time and their money and efforts.
Awesome. Well, I absolutely adore you. Tell us more about the Andrea Kaye Show. Where can we find you?
Well, you can listen live on AM 1170 here in San Diego, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And my podcasts are on my website, AndreaKayeShow.com.
Thank you so much for being a part of our show today, Andrea. You're amazing.
Thank you. You are too.
Don't go away. We're going to be right back with a story that you don't want to miss. We have Captain Williams from World War II, a hero who we are looking to get the Medal of Honor awarded to him. So don't go away. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, in studio with an incredible organization I know you're going to want to learn more about. Welcome to our show, Meg Storer from 211 San Diego, and Gabriel, welcome.
Thanks, Eve. Thanks for having us.
Hey, you're so welcome. So tell us about 211. What is this 211 all about? We drive down the freeway, we see blue signs that says 211. It could mean anything. So tell us what it is all about.
Yeah, thanks for asking and having us here today. So 211 San Diego, we were established about 13 years ago to provide the region with a one-stop shop for community, health, and disaster services. So every day we have thousands of folks that are searching for services like food assistance, healthcare, military and veteran access points, financial services, education, information for their children or aging adult. And we know that when you're in a dire place, that finding help can seem insurmountable, and 211's here to help do that. Our goal and mission is to provide our public with a 24/7 operation through calling 211, through a searchable database of 6,000 different vetted programs and services.
6,000.
Right, and so to provide people with a place to call when they really need some help out there.
So give us an example of somebody in need. They call into 211. What happens next?
Sure, so you dial 211 and you get connected with a highly trained client service representative. That particular person is trained to be able to ask appropriate questions to help you figure out what your needs are. At that point, we can do eligibility screenings for different programs. We give you information that you need about particular services in the community. How close are they? Do you need transportation? Don't forget to bring proper documentation with you when you go there. Right. We also provide enrollment services too. So we have a health navigation department and also a food stamp enrollment center as well. Wow. So we will do all the work for people who are calling in looking for those particular services.
This is incredible, like one-stop shop. You often hear people say, I wish there was just one number, wish there was one organization that I could call or go to for anything, and this is exactly what you provide. And you also do it for veterans. So Gabe, can you talk a little bit about what you're doing specifically for our veteran community?
Absolutely. So actually, we have people calling into the main line that Meg just described every day looking for services, but we also have a specialized service. It's a part of a partnership that's funded through the County Health and Human Services Agency through Mental Health Services Act dollars, where we actually partner with mental health systems and Veterans Village of San Diego, two really core partners in terms of servicing veterans and behavioral health needs in our community. And we're under a Courage to Call partnership that's really there to help people be caught early on when they're facing issues in terms of transition, some of the transitional pieces that are faced with our active military families as well, to make sure that they have a clear starting point to access services in our community. It's entirely staffed by military veterans. It's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to connect to all those services that Meg talked about, but really there from people who have that cultural competency, that understanding of what military families and veterans face that's unique from the civilian space, to help them make sure that they know how to take those next steps and get connected to the community to best support them.
Gabriel, what are some of the challenges that you see most often that are coming to you from our veterans and the veteran families?
You know, it really varies. Whether you're looking at the family side, it can be really a disconnect as people are trying to reintegrate with their community. You have people who are transitioning back in the community from across the country. You know, you also have a lot of issues facing our veterans in terms of homeless population, where we have an incredibly disproportionate number of veterans who are living on our streets, which it's just a travesty. So, but really it's just about making sure that they have strong community connections that are there. So we have a variety of projects, not just with Courage to Call, but we also work as an infrastructure support to a lot of community initiatives, making sure that they're scalable and accessible to the public. One good example of that, trying to broaden the lens of community connections, is our Veterans Community Connections Partnership that we're really excited about, that's really trying to engage a lot more people in the civilian space in helping make that transition to the community a safer, more comfortable one for our veterans and families.
So dive a little bit more into that, Meg, because VCC is this very broad brushed, anybody can jump in and help. I didn't serve in the military, but the point of VCC is, yes, Eve, you didn't serve, but you can do something to serve those who did serve. So tell us a little bit about that.
You're absolutely right. So we know that the divide between our civilian community and our military veteran community is widening. Our goal with Vets Community Connections here in San Diego is to shrink that gap. It provides an opportunity for anyone in our community to give back by providing individual mentorship, guidance and advice, or if you're a business or a corporation looking to serve veterans, you can apply to be one of those connectors within Vets Community Connections. We're very proud here in San Diego. It is a national model that's been brought locally. There are 2 other pilot projects in the nation, one in South Bend and the other one in Phoenix, Arizona. Here in San Diego, it is a true model of collaboration with our San Diego Veterans Coalition, which is a 140-member group of everyone from businesses to the VA, the hospitals, military, and they're a safety net for our veterans and military, as well as the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce, the County of San Diego, and of course 211.
I feel like 211 is like this magnet for all of these wonderful services that can help our veterans, of course, and our general public. I just want to thank you guys for all that you're doing. How can we jump in here and support you?
Right, so actually from a Vets Community Connection standpoint, go to vetscommunityconnections.org and sign yourself up. We ask anyone that we have a great vetting system. We have a great team that looks to see who those businesses and individuals are. If you're a veteran looking for help through Vets Community Connections or 211, you can dial 211. From a 211 standpoint, our goal right now is to raise our awareness from 30% to 60% out there in the community. Yes, we help 400,000 folks a year, but we also know that our awareness is only a third known in the community. And we are looking for people to come join us at our Connection Center, to use our space, to learn more about 211 and spread the word so more folks can use our service.
Excellent. Meg, Gabriel, thank you so much for being a part of our show. We're going to run your website under the bottom of the screen so people can jump on there and figure out how they can support you in all that you're doing to support our community. Thank you so much, 211 San Diego.
Thank you.
We will be right back with more of Operation American Dream. You don't want to go away. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and as promised, we have an incredible story for you today. Captain Williams, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
You were in World War II,
Yes.
and you were a naval aviator,
Yes.
and you have an incredible story to tell, and we're going to talk a little bit about that story and why you're now being considered for a Medal of Honor. So, an incredible story. So talk about, you joined the Navy, and I think you had some history there too. Your dad was in the military as well?
My dad was in the Army in World War I. My brother and I were in, well, say the Navy, I originally went in the Minnesota Guard when I was 16, and they allowed me to finish high school before I was put in full-time military. In the meanwhile, I turned 17 and joined the V5 program, which is a program toward becoming a naval aviator. So that was from 1942, early.
And what did you fly?
Training aircraft mainly. I started in an old open cockpit biplane made by the Navy Department. It's called the N3N. And then I went to an upgrade open cockpit biplane called the N2S, Stearman. And then an SNV, Vibrator we called it. It was a single wing fixed landing gear. Then we upgraded to the SNJ, which was similar but more powerful and retractable landing gear. And a lot of military of other countries use that as a first-class fighter airplane. It was a very nice, and all services during the war used that airplane as an advanced trainer. Then I flew the SBD, which was very active in the war, and especially in Battle Midway. It was the hero of the Midway battle. And then I got into the fighter business of Hellcats and Corsairs.
Wow, what a great transition you have made. And while you were in, you flew all those different aircraft. And I think you mentioned before as we were chatting that like the F-4 Phantom, you had grandparents and then kids that had all flown that aircraft. They all pretty much stayed in the same vertical, but you flew all kinds of aircraft. So you must have been a very good pilot.
Well, no, during the time they were discovering new techniques and developing aviations. And after one deployment, there would be a newer one, and I would get in that. So every time I deployed in my 30-some years, I was flying a new airplane that had not really a history before.
And you were okay with that, which is remarkable.
I loved it.
You loved it. So you would have made a great astronaut, just going up in those tests.
I didn't volunteer for that, but I know some of them.
So tell me, this incident that happened that is setting you up to receive the Medal of Honor, tell us what happened. Tell us about that day and your interactions with your commanding officer and what happened that day.
In our day-to-day combat in Korea, the Navy part of it, was located at sea, of course, out from the 38th parallel, the division between North and South Korea. And our mission was mainly anti-logistics to help the soldier on the ground, to destroy tunnels and trains and tanks and trucks and sampans, and to give close air support to the guy on the ground who hit the enemy who was almost in sight, just right in front of him.
Right.
But we were unable to hit some of the major targets that way, which was a little out of our range, which was way to the north. So the planners decided to send a task force, 3 carriers, USS Midway with the task force commander, Admiral Clark, on board, and then a bunch of destroyers, about 25 ships.
Wow.
To get a little closer to the target. So we went up off a major city in North Korea called Chongjin, and that put us well within the range to hit those targets. Well, the first day we arrived, and before dawn we took off, and at dawn hit Horyong, a manufacturing city right on the Yalu River, which is the dividing point between Russia, at that time Soviet Union, and North Korea. And there were a lot of targets there of manufacturing sites and warehouses. Well, this upset the Soviets, and they started to show signs of concern with launching all kinds of airplanes and a lot of communication chatter. So Admiral Clark and the deciders decided that we ought to back off and evaluate what's going on, and then perhaps send another mission in at dusk and then go back to where we came from on the 38th parallel. And in the meantime, as always, when we're at sea and any threat, we send out combat air patrol. These would be fighter aircraft, which is what I was flying, the F-9, F-5 Panther. So when I got back, I was detailed to get a quick lunch and launch again on an ugly snowstormy day with the clouds down to 400 feet and heavy clouds and snow. We rendezvoused visually under the clouds and climbed through to the top of the clouds, which happened to be 12,000 feet. Well, while we were in climbing, our controller, the Combat Information Center on the Oriskany, the carrier I was on, informed us that there were inbound bogies, meaning unidentified aircraft. And they were to the north of us, so we kept that in mind as we climbed. And when we got to the top, the leader of the flight, Lieutenant Elwood, declared that he had a problem with his engine and was getting a warning light, and they directed him and his wingman to go back and remain over the task force. And I took the lead with a guy that I'd never flown with before or since. But I at that time, and right as this lead was leaving us, there were contrails I spotted that had been called bogies, and there were 7 of them, and as they passed over me, they were easily identified as MiG-15s.
Wow, 7 MiGs flying over you.
Yes.
And what did you do?
Well, they said that's your target. And
Obviously.
I test fired my guns and made sure I was combat ready. The airplane was performing perfectly. And pursued them. As they passed over, they turned to the north, and I kept climbing in their direction. They outdistanced me, but I got to 26,000 feet when they were probably starting at 50,000 feet or higher.
Wow.
Dove, splitting in a group of 3 and 4 in opposite directions to bracket me.
Wow.
And when I lost sight, so did the radar control guy. So we were in the blind, and they directed me to come back and establish a barricade between last sighting and the task force. Well, in that turn, I'm being shot at by 4 MiGs in formation.
Oh my goodness.
And I responded by kicking the airplane around and firing on the last guy and shooting him down.
Wow. Wow. Well, that was just one.
That's just one.
Out of
that's
the
start.
7, you shot down 4, and you're the only American in the United States history to ever do that.
From Korean War on, during World War II, there were some that did that.
And it is for this act of bravery you saved the fleet. Is that an accurate statement?
We don't know their intentions, but because of this information that we've just received, we have the communication that took place from the controllers and these MiGs, and they were directed to increase speed and attack.
Got it. And now there is a petition going on, and underneath the bottom of our screen, we're going to put the website where you can go on and you can sign the petition. We need 100,000 signatures. Is that right, Ralph?
That's correct.
100,000 signatures to petition to get the Medal of Honor for you. But I think with the release of the NSA documents, it's pretty much we're heading down that path. So we have an American hero right here with us on Operation American Dream, and I thank you for being a part of the show. You're an amazing person, and they're actually doing a movie about you. Is that right? So I heard it was Forgotten Hero of a Forgotten War. And I think we're all going to line up to get tickets to that because I think your story is compelling, and there's so much more to it. But again, we've got pictures of what your plane looked like in the wing with all the bullet holes in it, and you standing there just smiling as if just another day, you know. But you're a humble hero, and again, I want to thank you, Captain Williams, for being a part of our show, and thank you for being here as well, and supporting all that he's doing. And
I was wingman.
You're the wingman right now, so thank you again. Well, thank you for joining us on Operation American Dream. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to Operation American Dream. I'm Eve Nasby, and in studio with us, we have Rochelle Snook, Global Talent Acquisition Manager for WD-40. Rochelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know, we often get these questions in from folks who want to know, okay, how do I hire a veteran? And then once I have them in my conference room where I'm interviewing them, what really are some good questions that I can ask these veterans to really understand who they are and how they can contribute to our company, and if we're really the right fit for them. So what suggestions do you have?
I would recommend starting with an explanation of the company, sort of what we are, what our culture is like, what the position is that we're hiring for. Then we turn the page and dig really deeply into the skills. So if I have a position for facilities or operations, supply chain, I want to understand what the key functions of those things are, what the skills are that are required, and then hone those questions into the veterans to say, so, and very in a behavioral way.
Yes, behavior-based interviews.
Behavioral-based interviews. I want to understand how they can apply their military experience to the role that we have today. So I'll ask them situational questions. If we have a large piece of equipment that we want to move from San Diego to our technology center in New Jersey, and here's some of the obstacles in the way, how would you tackle that problem? And then they can step it through, and we can ask them additional questions, provide some additional information, to see if they're listening, to see if they can incorporate the feedback. All of those things that our vets do on a day-to-day basis, they adapt pretty quickly.
That's so smart. So you tell them a little bit about your company. They should have already done their research in the beginning, but it's kind of an icebreaker because I think probably veterans who are just getting out are more nervous than most people. You kind of put them at ease and then ask them those tough questions, the behavior-based interview questions.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Rochelle Snook, WD-40, thank you for being a part of our show today for our Q&A. I'm Eve Nasby. We'll be right back after these messages. It has been a great show here on Operation American Dream. We have the most amazing guest, don't we? We've got Captain Williams, who's going to be back next week. You're not going to want to miss that. So if you want to learn more about Operation American Dream TV, please go onto our website. It's at the bottom of your screen. I'm Eve Nasby. We'll see you next week.